Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to see you all tonight. And tonight is the fourth talk series that the Department of Law and Public Policy of the FBL USJ is organizing with the Ricuña Foundation. I say it's the fourth series because we had the first, second, and the third on the topic of AI and data protection. That was the first topics. And the second we had on harmonization of data protections, looking at international practice, but also the practice within the GBA. And the third one was on DPO, the journey of DPO, Data Protection Officer, which we had last 2 months. And today is the last session crowning the talk of this year, because it's a 2-month talk. Every 2 months we organize a talk on these interesting topics that I believe it interests lawyers, non-lawyers, all have something to learn from this talk series. So tonight talk, it's going to be very specific. It's not going to be related to the law because most of the talk we had previously has been focused on the legal aspect of data protection and governance. So tonight we are looking at data and its impact from the business perspective, how data is helping to build up what we call data-driven business that can create a value for companies. So as you can see here, we have different faces here, people from industry that are going to definitely share their experience on this topic tonight. But before introducing the panel member, first I would like to first introduce our moderator of tonight. Please join me to welcome Professor Alexandro Lampo, who is the head of Department for Business Study at the Faculty of Business and Law at USJ. So he's going to moderate tonight's event for 1 hour, 30 minutes. And once again, thank you very much for being here tonight. And I can guarantee you that you are going to learn really something important and decisive. And the last thing I would like to mention before closing that is that we are happy to announce that since last month, our new programs, Master Program of Business and Technology Law was approved by Macau government, which of course will address some of the issues that of course we are talking on Law and Tech Talk, because Law and Tech Talk is an extension of the master program. We believe that some of you are master student already, but it's no problem to have a 2 master, but also you can share this word with your friend, family members that now USJ has a new program on law and technology. So without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to the moderator, Professor Alexandro Lampo. Please, over to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you very much, Professor Diakite. I would like to thank you for the invitation here. Well, Professor Diakite, no, I'm very reluctant in accepting this kind of roles, but when I knew about the panel, then I felt more comfortable to be with all of you today. And this is, we have today a very good panel, and I would like to briefly introduce each one of them, and then we can start the discussion. So our first member of this panel is Ted Choi. Welcome with us today.
Hello.
And Ted is the co-founder of Nizon, and is a company that is helping business in the Greater Bay Area to grow, and it's a very great experience. Over 20 years of experience in the field. He has cooperated with companies like SAP, IBM, Salesforce, and Microsoft, just to mention some. So we are really looking forward to learn many insights from you. Thank you for being here. And then the second panelist is Daniel Farigna, which is a colleague from University of St. Joseph. Is an assistant professor and is an expert in artificial intelligence and information systems. Right. I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, his interest is in ethical,
decentralized AI.
In decentralized AI. So many difficult words today. So I think it's a very interesting topic, and we are also looking forward to learn more about this. Last but not least is Terence Lee. Terence has cooperated quite a lot with our faculty and is a social entrepreneur. He has many projects. You will talk about them later. And he's the co-founder and president of an association called Sustaintia.org. And Sustaintia is a company that is helping to create a better, a more sustainable life and world. So we are also very happy to know more about your association. Welcome to all the panelists today. I have a question, or not really a question, but I would like to start this session with reading a sentence that I came across some times ago. So, because the topic of today is from data to action. So, I came across this. Data without action is just an expensive file on your computer. And I think this is a very interesting definition, because I read also some report. There was a study of about 100 companies, medium-sized company, and it was found that companies are actually using 1/3 of the data that they collect from their user. This means that a lot of data is lost. So actually we may be sitting on a little gold mine of information and we are not using it. And it has been calculating that for a medium company, this could amount up to 29 million lost per year in revenue. So this is a very important fact that we would like to consider. So today what we are going to do is to close the gap, and we are ready to learn from you and learn your insight, how we can help students, entrepreneurs in their journey towards success. So I would like then to leave the floor to the first speaker today, Ted. Please share your insight for our audience.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me, and great to see everyone's here. When the first time I received the invite from you, actually I'm thinking what I should share in front of the student, entrepreneur. So I'm thinking maybe, because I'm the first one to start here, I want to make some interaction with the audience first. I think today here everyone have using data, right? You guys, your company you just mentioned have customer data, finance data. I think everyone is touching the data, right? If that, can you raise your hand? Yeah, so I think data is owned by everyone. But the second question I want to ask is, are you guys using the data to make some decision? I mean, like, were you using your data to create a new business or new service for your customer in your organization? Or you just seeing the data and using it? If those, you're using the data to make some decision or create new revenue in last 90 days, will you raise your hand? 90 days, yeah. All right, so there's some. So I think they might be a manager or entrepreneur. So why I ask this question is I want to bring you guys what I'm doing daily. Actually, I'm facing in my last 20 years what I'm doing. And here I see the trends for everyone. As long as you are entrepreneur or manager, we see there is a big change with the AI, right? For me, myself, I actually using the AI daily to ask the questions, to generate a document report. But I see most of the enterprise, like government and casino, they actually just seeing the data in the system, like ERP, CRM, or some report, without having that to make some decision or change your business. So this is, I see, this is a trend for everyone today. We are have an AI and the data, the big data. So I will really urge everyone today, if you don't having the data to change your business, to make some impact, you guys should start to using it, because I see this is a big opportunity for most of the enterprise or even a government. They could give a good customers citizen service to the citizen. So for this, we see actually we should using this as an opportunity to get started on it. So for me, actually, I will facing the customer, like some casino or some governor, to discuss with them how they are using the data and AI daily. But most of them, I see they are actually still only having the IT investment without business-driven or business use case. So I will see most of them, they still need have many mindset change before they really adopt the technology or AI and technology. So I really encourage everyone here to using a more consulting way to understand the AI and technology and start thinking about how AI or data can change their business. And with a good business mindset, good business question before you really using the technology. Yeah, so I think this is why we would like to have this section and also share to every audience here. And maybe this is a little bit from my side. I would want to start in this talk today.
Okay, thank you very much. When I read your profile, you mentioned some principles, like
Yep.
5 principles. Can you talk about these principles?
Yeah. So actually, this 5 principle is very interesting, and also echo a little bit the introduction I just have, because when we have the consulting firm to in front of the customer, we normally have 5 principles for myself. I will encourage the customer to define the problem before they really see on the technology. Yeah, and this is the first one. We call that is the first principle. But nowadays, actually, many people will come and just ask how I can use the AI. But this is not actually the right question when you start using the technology. Okay, and the second one is I will see that when you want to have the technology to disrupt your business or change your business, create new business for the customer, will this really a good opportunity for the customer or for the company? Okay, so this is the second one I will share that. And the third one actually is I just mentioned about the mindset. When you talk about the technology, you better talk about the business first. And then before you jump in with the AI or some technology platform. Otherwise, you will have a big impact or big cost for the company. They may adopt some technology which is not really helping the company.
So business model first,
Yep.
technology later.
Yes.
And among this principle, which one is mostly ignored, or the one that give more difficulty to implement? Which one you think it is?
It really depends on the company size and company the leadership. Yeah, when we see most of that, they might jump in the product or solution very fast without really define the business, the root cause why the business have this kind of issue, or what kind of the benefit for their business user or customer they will benefit if they're really using that technology, maybe AI or maybe some big data platform to have a good analytic report. So I would say that this is quite a big, most of the company will take the mistake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Ted. Now we'll come back later with some more questions. I know also our audience is eager to ask questions. But I would like to move to Daniel. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alessandro. Yeah, so maybe I'll tell you a little bit about my story in relation to data-driven business and now AI businesses. So this goes back 20 years as well. I was working in the UK for a mobile marketing business, and they asked me, I was a software development, so my background is computer science, computing studies, so a mixture of computer science and business as well. And I was asked to come up with new ideas for mobile marketing. Now, casting your memory back 20 years, this was just a year before the iPhone was released. So smartphones at the time were Nokia phones with physical keyboards. Now, some of you, the younger ones, will not really understand what I mean by that, but it's actual physical keys that you used to press on the phone that would go click physically. And the screens were very small. So this is just to cast your memory back to where I'm coming from. And when we think about mobile marketing in this scenario, I was thinking that even then, back then, the phone was a very personal device, something that you carry with you at all times. And it has the potential to profile you. Right? It has the potential to, it knows where you are. It potentially even has a microphone, so it might be able to capture what you're saying. And it has, access to your contacts, various very personal information. So I was thinking we can use the device as a physical cookie. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of the term cookie, is what you have in your browser and your computers. And the idea that you could have this physical cookie tracking you everywhere had the potential to really profile the consumer. So it was very interesting from that perspective. But then I realized there was a big problem, which was that of privacy. Now, people sometimes think I'm concerned about privacy. I was really trying to solve it as a way to do what I really wanted to do, which was profiling of consumers. I come from that background. So a lot of time elapsed, but back then I was thinking, maybe the solution here is we don't need the data. Enterprises don't need the data. How about we leave the data on the consumer device, on their side, so they profile themselves, and then the enterprise could perhaps collaborate with them, and through systems talking to systems, we could actually monetize that data without any of the privacy concerns. So it was a revolutionary idea. In fact, unfortunately, didn't really take off for one very simple reason. The consumers don't have the infrastructure. They had very small phones, very rudimentary phones before the iPhone even existed. So there was no system that they could be doing this. So it was all back to the enterprise. And time evolved, and Google and Facebook started doing this on their side very successfully, I should add. So they have vast amounts of data. They can profile us very accurately because they know everything about us, whether where you are, who your contacts are, what you're doing, your context. Which again raises all kinds of ethical and privacy issues, which you all know about. There's a lot of documentaries about it. If you go on Netflix, there's A Social Dilemma, which is a great documentary talking about this, the negative impact of this as well, of course. But again, I was coming from this perspective, there must be a better way to do this. There must be a way that, if I look at privacy, I looked at it as friction on a system. So I come from a systems perspective, right? So a computer science perspective. I was looking at a system that I wanted to make very efficient. So data is very useful, could potentially be very valuable, as we know. But privacy acts as a friction on the system. And I still saw this idea of letting the consumer do it on some infrastructure that didn't exist as a solution. But because the infrastructure was not there, that solution did not happen, and venture capitalists would basically say the same thing. If you one day can come up with a way to have this device, having people purchase this device, invest on a device that they'll use for doing this profiling, then we'll talk again. That hasn't happened until very recently. Now, with the latest development in AI, large language models, LLMs, we're starting to see potentially the beginning of a new paradigm where the consumers might be investing in hardware to run these systems locally. There is a huge amount of advantages in doing this. Doing local inference means you can have an agent working on your behalf 24/7. Not just for profiling you, but for really helping you accomplish tasks, everyday tasks. There was a system that became very famous. It was short-lived, but called OpenClaw, that became everyone was using it for setting meetings, scheduling things, acting on their behalf as a kind of as an assistant. And it became very popular very fast because people saw the potential of having an AI system working for them, like a personal assistant, for the first time. So I saw people actually buying hardware, in this case Apple hardware, because it was very efficient to running these LLM models locally. So when I saw this happening, I thought, is there a possibility here that we can go back to that idea, the old idea that I had 20 years ago, where consumers can start doing this data manipulation, this data profiling on their side with privacy? And I think the potential here is huge. So what I'm proposing here, I suppose, is something that's a little bit revolutionary because most people haven't thought about it this way. It is a new kind of paradigm, but I think is one that we may see with this new wave of agentic AI. Agentic AI, I think, will power this new way of data processing where instead of the enterprise having the data and potentially the liability of having data security breaches, which also happens with frequency, having the data go to the consumer side, having the consumer profile it, and the enterprise can even be a stakeholder by providing data to that system, by making it easier for the system to profile the user, to build this very, very accurate model. You can become, as an enterprise, a stakeholder in any profits made by those systems. So it's a very interesting and new way to think about data privacy. And I think it has the potential to, has legs now with AI and LLMs. I just wanted to say one more thing before we move, which is this idea of having these systems on your side, on the consumer side. I call them exocortices, or extensions to your mind, extensions to your brain, rather than just an assistant. And the potential here is huge. For example, I experimented for quite a number of years with doing that, recording as much as I could about myself. Now, I have a very bad memory. I used to say I have the memory of a goldfish. But I can tell you from my experience, if I was asked to ask you 10 years ago, this very day, today I believe is the 26th, is that right? 27th. Today's the 27th. So it's around 7 o'clock now. What were you doing exactly 10 years ago, this very moment? You probably don't know, right? You might have make some estimate. It was a Friday, by the way. I know exactly what I was doing. I was arriving at my in-laws' home, and my daughter was just short of 2 years old, and I was playing with her, and I was taking her temperature because she had a very low fever. Now, how could someone with the memory of a goldfish possibly remember something so rudimentary as this? Because I was already experimenting with this idea of the exocortex. I was recording myself 24/7. I was recording everything I was doing, including my audio surroundings. So of course I prepared for this today. I went back 10 years ago and I was checking what was I doing through the audio that I had recorded. So just a glimpse of what these systems can do for you when you start using AI, not just to record, but to analyze, to find out what were you doing, and really having a way to go back and having a full history of you that you can Google, having the Google of you, if you think about it, right? There's a lot of potential going forward where this data, in the hand of the consumers, not in the enterprises, has a huge amount of potential, and at the same time would kind of solve the privacy that we see as friction on the side of the enterprise.
Well, that's a very good insight, revolutionary in a way. But let me ask you a question, because you are also interested in privacy. So what is the small change that a company could do in order to become more respecting the privacy of the customers?
Well, Alessandro, it goes back to that, the opening that you mentioned. Companies are sitting on huge amounts of data, and they don't even know what to do with it. That's already a bad thing, because if you have data, and again, you're potentially liable for data breaches, and if you're not monetizing the data already, it becomes difficult to justify having the data in the first place. So what I would say is don't have it, destroy it. because you are at least getting rid of the liability aspect of it. And one day, maybe you can provide that data if that's paradigm of the consumer-sided, as cortices becomes reality. You could maybe supply that to the consumer because they might be able to do something with it, and then you receive that stakeholder status in their systems. But if you have nothing to do, if you don't have any use for the data right now, I would just say don't keep it. Because you could even be infringing on current privacy law restrictions. There is if you don't need the data, then if you're not using the data, you should not be keeping the data to begin with. So just get rid of it.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Daniel. And now I would like to move to our third speaker, which is Terence. So please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Professor Lampo. This is a very interesting invite, and I'm very interested to speak to the public here, students and people who are just interested in how AI is going to affect us. Let me go back a few years ago where I was funded by the local government to implement a smart city project. At the time, everybody's first intuition is smart city has to be about sensors, maybe some sort of a neural network controlling traffic, light, and so on and so forth. But these are all useful, but I started to ask a different question. What is the smartest thing about the city? And when you think about it, it's us, humans. We are in the city, we're in the system, running the cities. This is where the intelligence is, not necessarily all those sensors and computers. So this project, Structural City, was a result of that concept where we consider buildings as living social networks. We live in these buildings. They are vessels for intelligence. If we can tap into that intelligence, if we can share the solutions that we use to solve the problems we have, and most of these problems are common to everybody, even in this room, noises or hygiene or so on and so forth, including what's fun in the city. If we can share that in a social network in a way that makes sense for the community, and considering all the stakeholders, we are building something smart. So the goal isn't to reinvent a system. We are the system. We should augment it without breaking it. And that's one realization that's shaped everything I've done so far. It's not what AI can do. And by the way, this project was before the ChatGPT. But it applies equally. It's about how we can preserve what we have and how we can improve while using AI. So, and I believe the thing that is important to this is agency, control, okay? So in the end, you end up with governance and so on and so forth. I'll get into this a little bit later. The deep human ability to decide, to correct, and to say, no, that's not the way. That is intelligence and how we need to use AI in a way that suits us, to benefit us. So maybe I bring something a little bit closer, a little bit more concrete. You've all used chat AI tools, right? You type a prompt, the AI gives you a response. You might not like it, and in that case, what do? Oh, you try again. You type a new prompt. You ask more questions. You give it some more answers. But one thing that you almost never do, and now you think about it when using it, is you edit the AI response directly. Okay? So why does this matter? Because it takes away the fundamental form of control, the ability to modify the output directly, to own the conversation. Agency, this is what it is. So we are being trained by the AI with the current chat interface to be in a passive one-way conversation. Okay, you can barely nudge what it's trying to output, but what if we can change that directly? So this was something that I made very recently, just on my own, okay, as a tool. And hopefully that way I want the machine to be more of a collaborator and not so much as an authority. So you can edit both sides of the conversation, both the prompt and the response, right? And that way you can continue the conversation in the way exactly you want without going back and forth and telling it what's wrong and so on. You can directly remove certain things you don't want it to say, or you can add new things that you want to say that it should be saying. This seems trivial, right? But the psychological shift is pretty enormous. You stop being the questionnaire, you become a director. You feel the agency returning. So this tool, I'm not trying to sell a product, by the way. This is just something I built for fun and for myself because I wanted to have more control. So I'm not telling you to buy this product or try this kind of product thing. I want you to think about how you want to use the AI in the way that benefits you, your personal agency. Okay? So this agency is almost like a button. It's a governance mechanism. It's a check. It's like the smart city platform that I mentioned about with people kind of being in control, right? And it's about community, collective agency, and also personal agency. So what I'm saying is, for every AI-enabled business models, think about this agency. Can we build intuitive points where human can control for our own benefit? This is very key, okay? So the framework that I'm suggesting to do this is called co-design, okay? So you design checks and balances for the AI to, make sure that it's doing what you want. And for example, I'm doing another cultural heritage project with AI.
You have many projects.
Yeah, so maybe I'll go through quickly.
Tell us
But
something about them.
Yeah, the key point for this is that I'm bringing in different experts from artists, from teachers, from students, stakeholders, okay? This has to be a sustainable thing, which means stakeholder has to benefit from whatever project result this would be. And we have to design it together, even if we're using AI. Okay, so we have to make sure that it's culturally correct. There's things that we need to preserve, things that needs to be satisfying these stakeholders. So the result isn't just a better product, it's a product that the community actually wants to adopt because they saw design themselves, they're part of it, they've edited the output emotionally, intellectually, long before it went live. So the key is this co-creation loop, okay? And a lot of times I think we have to think of in terms of like developing software. As a software engineer, we do a lot of development using modular development. So we do small pieces that does the things that we want and do it well, okay? And we use these small pieces to check to make sure that the AI is doing things that we want and it's harmonious to the people as well. So maybe I'll end with kind of going back to Professor Lempo's mentioning how file is sitting on the computer. It's very important, I think, that we no longer even touch the files anymore. We almost just ask the ChatGPT the direct answers without even going to the files. File is one form of control. It's a form of control. So maybe you have to figure out how you want to organize your files, how you want your files to represent you, what kind of files are benefiting you. This is the kind of agency that you don't want to just let go entirely to the AI, okay? Make sure you have the final say because at the end of the day, you'll be the one responsible, not the machine.
Thank you, Terence. There were some great insight. You mentioned in a smart city, we are the smart ones.
Yeah.
But also artificial intelligence is intelligent too. So tell me, as a manager, what is the task that you would never give to AI?
Yeah, so like I said, the last button that goes to the world has to be under your human control, okay? Like the manager can never let go of this agency, okay? If you let go of this agency, you could become a passive receiver. And in the end, what happens is you become domesticated by the AI. So it's very important for managers not to entirely give up all the powers and authorities that that managers is responsible for, right? And make sure the AI is doing the things that you are at the end responsible for. So, I think the key is the agency, is the control. Okay, and I hope everybody in here, not just thinking how beneficial the AI is. Yes, of course it is. It's very powerful and so on. But the point is that you are the one going to be responsible for the things that you put out. Okay, even though the AI is there to help, and it should. Okay, and at every step, please make sure that you check it's what you want and it's what's beneficial for stakeholders. So yeah, that's my message.
Thank you, Terence, and thank you to all the speakers to sharing their insights. Now, I would like to ask each one of you a question, and I would like to start with Ted.
Yep.
I would like to ask you, what is the biggest barrier between data and action in a typical company? Because the topic of today's session is from data to action. So what is that prevent managers to make good decisions with the data that they have?
Thanks for the question, Professor. I think now the biggest barrier is about the data in the fingerprint. As I said, everyone now is easier to have an AI agent with a CRED in the mobile app. But how you make sure the AI agent is answer you the question with the right data. So nowadays, like when I discussing with my client, like some integrated resort, most of them is concerning how the AI agent is responding with the right data. You can imagine with the huge of the integrated resort, they have many different kind of data. They have customer data, they have finance data, they have some logistic data, etc. But how the manager or the business user or the leadership to make sure the right data in front so they can have the AI agent to serve them. So this is now the biggest barrier and biggest cause, and how the Nielsen is helping them to consult them. Normally, we will have different kind of business workshop and make sure that they have the right data in the industry and integrate in the different system. So I would say that a right data platform, which is more meaningful to the business, is nowadays the most biggest barrier to the client.
Just coming back to your answer, do you have a quick tip to give how to choose the correct data?
I think the right tip is in the leadership, that decision architecture should be right. I mean, when an enterprise or a CEO or a CIO, they want to have this kind of the technology, AI, data in front of their organization. They need to sit down and have a very meaningful discussion how this kind of technology is driving their organization from the profit to purpose. I mean, if we only tracing the profit, many things can do. But if the purpose, they can have a right culture or right purpose for the company, that their employee, their customer can really feel that, have a warm surface they can touch. That, I think this is very important. So for your answer, I think the quick tips is they need to have a clear company vision and culture first before they really join to using the technology.
Okay, thank you, Ted.
Yep.
And now I'd like to ask a question to Daniel. You have a very futuristic vision of technology. And I would like to ask you, in your opinion, which industry in Macau will be the most disrupted by agentic AI in the next, I don't know, 3 to 5 years?
That's a great question. My background, as I said, is mostly computer science, so I see the disruption that's already causing this in the software industry. Of course, Macau doesn't have as much of a software industry as other places, but I see it potentially disrupting, the industry across the board, starting with tourism. Agents will be able to advise consumers on how to book. So these agents again are going to be helping consumers to make decisions, and it's going to be beneficial for enterprises, for businesses local in Macau, to understand how these agents work, so that you can maybe serve the agent before the customer, because again the agent is going to be an interface in the future between the customer and you. So if there's going to be an agent between the customer and you have to understand how the agent works. So you really have to understand the technology and have agent-facing interfaces. So not just a website anymore, but having ways that agents who are looking for information on behalf of the users, that they're going to find, and have ways to cater for the agents as well. It's a new, again, a new way to think about interfacing with the customers through the agents. But again, in terms of industries, the law industry is going to be highly disrupted as well, I think. The same way as for software, because you have these agents able to do, very, with high reasoning, be able to find information, do background research, find, for example, cases that may be related to a particular case. All these things that perhaps were entry-level jobs in law could be potentially automated. So one thing that I always say for students is, again, you have to be prepared for a situation where your entry-level job is not going to be there anymore, or at least not the way it was until now.
Do you have an opinion about our industry, which is teaching, learning? What do you think is the future there?
That's a great question. I've been thinking about that for a long time now. We could look at it two ways. Either we're going to be obsolete, or we really prepare students to the future that awaits them. And I'm already trying to do that myself.
What is your vision then?
Yeah, for example, in terms of software development, I do teach some programming classes at USJ, and the last semester I completely changed the way we teach it. Instead of just teaching programming from scratch, I teach agentic driven development, or as people call it, vibe coding. And it was game changing, because I see students who never touched a line of code before being able to develop a working mobile app within the first 10 minutes of the class. And again, I couldn't possibly foresee this 5 years ago. So I think it's really revolutionary how you have these students who now have this power in their hands. But again, the challenge is, when they go to the job market, we have to prepare them for what's coming. What's coming is the entry-level job will change. And what we have to prepare students for is, when they go for a job interview after their program studies complete, they are not going to go to a job interview advertising themselves as an individual. They have to approach a job interview as a team leader of an agentic team, because they can show to the company they're interviewing for they are 10 times as productive as someone who doesn't handle the technology. So this is what we are preparing students for already in the way we can. We have, of course, our courses, at least, of course, at the master level, the business school has excellent courses, the MBA, of course, being one, the new courses also at master level being very good courses in that regard. At the undergraduate level, we don't have something specific for data science. Our partner institution, the UCP in Portugal, Catholic University, does offer distance learning course specifically on data science and technology. So for those who are finishing high school and are interested in doing that, perhaps it's a way into data science and then onto an MBA on a more business-oriented track. But yeah, you have to be prepared that the job market will change, and you sure better know how to use the technology to be able to keep up.
Yeah, thank you very much for your view on the topic. It's scary, but it's also very interesting, I believe. Terence, to you. So you're a social entrepreneur. This is the definition you gave me. I would like to ask you, what is that one question that every entrepreneur should ask before deciding to using AI? And also AI is a very vague term, right? When we say AI, actually is not one AI. There are many different. So what is the recommendation that you could give of when you are starting a new project? What is the question you ask yourself?
Yeah, so there's no conflict between social benefits and AI. The question, I think, any entrepreneur or businessman, would likely start from might be, as the Cantonese saying, we have this saying called "Pang, Lang, Dang, Fi." Okay, affordable, attractive, authentic, and fast. Okay, this is a common kind of Chinese business model. I think the AI, and you can hear from the other speakers as well, is that it's very effective in making that optimization on those four things. Okay, it can be much more productive. It can give you more comprehensive answers. It can handle customers much more faster. But the key, I think, as a social entrepreneur, is the human complexity. Okay, the complexity is something that governance is helping to solve throughout thousands of years for human history. Okay, we have rules, we have laws, and so on and so forth. These are things to handle the complexity of human connections. There's trust, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are things that AI might know about, but they don't live with us. We live with it. Okay, and especially in the Greater Bay Area, we have such a huge population with very diverse industry and so on and so forth. This governance, I think, is key. Okay, now for a social entrepreneur, you have to keep an eye on this, or keep a heartbeat and keep track of this kind of development in AI. Not only that, but you also make sure that you are taking care of humans and then stakeholders. Okay, because that's where your business is going to be. Everybody's going to be using AI. Okay, you might be using AI and come up with a business idea or maybe an operation. The next person will be also be able to do the same thing. So to remain competitive, even as interviewing for a job and so on and so forth, you got to make sure that you have something that is human. That is the human aspect that the AI or somebody else using AI can just replace. So I think for a social entrepreneur, the social is still key.
Okay, thank you very much, Terence. Now I would like to ask one question, the same question to each one of you, and feel free to interact with each other. Okay, so from data to action. So where do most companies in Macau get stuck? Macau or the Greater Bay Area, and how can manager fix that? Maybe we can, Ted, or
Okay.
from Terence, maybe we go.
Yeah, all right.
I feel at the end, the kind of business which are traditional definitely has to go to digital transformation. And that's been happening anyways. And the key, I think, back to the competitiveness question is like, you have to know the local situation, the local environment, the culture. These are not things that the AI may necessarily pick up or know as well as you, because you live through it, okay? You're living in it.
But like in your experience as an entrepreneur, what problem did you have in this digital transformation that you were mentioning?
Yeah. So actually, when I heard what Ted was saying as well, the problem and the opportunity that exists, that comes from human, right? So as a human, you have to make sure that you are listening to other humans and picking up things that are having issues that the people are trying to solve, the difficulties they have, right? This is not something that AI, even if you just prompt simply, like, can you tell me a business model, might be able to solve for you, because it doesn't live with you. It's not part of the local. It's not part of our community. So therefore, I think listening to other humans and connecting and creating that trust is very important.
Do you think with time we'll reach that point where the AI will pick up those cues?
The thing is, we are AI. We're intelligent. We're HI, human intelligence. So we work together with AI, and hence why my co-design, co-creation theory, you can say philosophy, is actually key. So the AI is, you can consider almost like another person, but they might have a whole different knowledge, much more comprehensive. They might think of ways that you might not even know. But the thing is, in the end, you're still responsible for whatever that you're bringing out. And the other thing is, you got to make sure those people the stakeholders that you're dealing with, especially the customers, right, as well, they are considered. And that you're making sure that that human connection, emotion that you have with these customers is going to be your competitiveness.
Okay, thank you, Terence. Daniel, do you have any?
Yes, I'd like to pick up on something I think is very important that Terence mentioned, which is the issue of trust. And I think there's when it comes to data, back to the idea of privacy, there is a huge amount of distrust on companies gathering this data about us. And I think one of the things that, it's not just applicable to Macau, but to everywhere in the world, but I guess Macau will be the same, is that we should be trying to replace this lack of trust with transparency. And we should give customers not just access to what data we hold about them, but what we're doing with it. I think there's a need for transparency in what are we doing with the data and what data do we even hold. And I think that's just something that we don't see anywhere. We don't see if you interface with a company, if you interact with a company, you may see some personal data there, but there's a lot of other things being gathered that we're not privy to as consumers. So I think that to build trust, we have to be transparent. We have to show consumers, look, this is what we're holding about you. This is what we plan to do with it or not. And you may then be able to even request deletion of some things that you're not happy about companies having, or just benefiting from it, actually having access to insights that maybe you were not aware of yourself. Again, it's the idea of contributing to the consumer, contributing to the one that normally is being extracted from, and this time we maybe build the trust by being more open and transparent with them.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. And what is your view, Ted?
I think, to echo again, I think what is the problem we are trying to solve, and what is this benefit to the human or to the company? So with this angle, I think we can utilize good with the AI and with the AI agent maybe. So I would say that we need to have a more open-minded, adapted mindset before we're really using the technology. Because the end goal is we are using the technology to improving our life, our customer experience, our efficiency, our productivity, etc. So once again we have this kind of the clarity when we leveraging the AI or AI agent, everything will be clear. But without that, I think we will always have a fear. We also have mass because we worry a lot of things, but without the clear angle. So I mean, this is always when I met with my client, we will always discuss what is really a problem, what is the real problem behind you want to leverage this kind of technology. So maybe this is my answer to your question.
Okay, thank you. And Ted, I also would like to ask you another question. We have many MBA students in this room, and some will be also, maybe they want to start up their own company, do some kind of business. So what is the suggestion that you could tell them today if they want to start a business?
Start the business. I think now is a very good time to start business because we have AI. Everyone can be a one-person company. We call one PC. Yeah, you have no boundary about, or I don't know this kind of industry. I don't have this kind of talent to work for me. As long as you have a creator idea, you want to really helping the client to solve some problem, which is maybe not have a solution yet. I think this is a very good moment to leverage AI. But again, you know how much is the problem it worth for you, your company to solve. As long as you can figure out this kind of question, I think you can start and doing your own business without any boundary or burden on this moment. So I would say embrace the AI, understanding the industry and the problem you want to solve, then you can start it.
And picking up on that, you are an experienced entrepreneur, and you have worked in many different companies, very famous. We mentioned Microsoft, SAP, Salesforce. Do you have any ideas of how to start a business, some ideas that you can give to people in this room, of what could be the next?
What can be next? Okay. Well, this is a very challenging question.
Maybe we can ask AI to give us
anything with software, because
Yeah.
now anyone can be a software developer. That's the low-hanging fruit, is to do an app, right? To do something they think the market is missing, right?
Yeah.
So if you just have an idea, you don't have to hire a developer. You have a developer at home. It's an AI agent that can maybe do a mock-up, a minimum viable product, MVP, or a prototype in 10 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
And then you can test it on the market and see what kind of things you might get. Right?
And in your opinion, what is the recommendation that you can give to students or entrepreneurs?
Well, it will be that. I think, again, what Ted is saying is a very exciting time to start a business, because you can do that one-person company. You can have a couple of agents doing market research for you overnight. You can just keep it running in loops. Of course, bearing in mind there's a cost to that. There's a token cost. Nothing is for free. There's no free lunch.
Yeah.
But you know, paying an agent, paying an agent company maybe $20 a month. Instead, you'll be paying someone a salary to do the same kind of job. Again, talking about entry-level jobs. It's very exciting to be an entrepreneur in this environment. Not so much for the people who would be working the job instead, but yes, software I think is low-hanging fruit. Anyone who has an idea can do an application, can do an app, can do a mobile app or a website or something that just gets your idea out there, and then you see how people react to it. Agents can do that. I have now, as we speak, I have a team of 5 agents working on different projects on a loop. So just continuously developing and improving software-related projects. And yeah, again, you have to have that. Even if you don't end up being an entrepreneur and you end up looking for a job, having that in your tool sets. The idea that you don't just work yourself, you have a team working for you. Whatever it is that you do, whatever specialty you want to focus in, the fact that you are a team leader of a team of 5 is very different from just working by yourself. So you really have to leverage the technology, whether you are starting a business or whether you're looking for a job. That's my take on that.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. What is your tip for our student, our audience?
I think students needs to remember and think in the back of mind that you might have a good idea, you can implement it really easily with AI. But this is applying to your potential competitors and fellow students as well, who can basically duplicate your idea immediately as well. And by the way, I teach this in prior kind of e-commerce classes, which is very similar. Just the scale and the speed is just faster. It's that anything you put online is also duplicatable by anybody as soon as it's online. So it's just that speed now, the time is much shorter. So my point is that you as an entrepreneur, make sure you have to have a sense of what's going on in the local situation, because that's how you're going to separate yourself from anybody copying you from anywhere in the world. And also because you are getting the step up in the local situation, your competitors will actually not be able to beat you. Okay, so it could be maybe you just want to bake cake, for example. right? But what's that cake taste like should be for the local customers. That is not something that AI can just duplicate easily, okay? It might be able to come up with a recipe, and your recipe might be duplicated really easily, but your relationship with your customers that's buying your cake, that's going to be key. So again, I keep going back to that human kind of connection and the trust and so on. That's kind of what separates one AI entrepreneur from another AI entrepreneur. Even if you're just a one-person team or five-person team or 5-agent, 100-agent, that is going to be the separation, I think.
That's very interesting. Terence, I want to, yeah.
Look, can I just build on something? Because it's
Sure.
something I think is really key. I think Terence is spot on this. And so I used to joke about this as well because, as you know, I mean, in terms of technology, introverts were kings. The Zuckerbergs of the world, the Elon Musks, they were all introvert engineers who became very rich due to the fact that they were engineers and they were building software in these systems. And I think that this AI, this wave of AI, is really devastating for these introverts because they lost their leverage, right? They have nothing to offer now because the AI can do everything they could. What they can't do is the human connection, is the social interactions, is the connections, and I think things like MBAs are great, not just for what you're learning, but the connections you are forming, the human contacts you're starting to form, because those may be, well, the defining factor on which of these multiple entrepreneurs are going to be chosen over the others. Yeah.
And I would like to pick up on what Terence was saying before. Like you are all entrepreneurs, right? So I would like to ask you, moving beyond the one-person company, if you have to hire someone today, would you hire someone with technical skills or with people skills?
For me, it's both. It'd be better if they're both. I think developing the technical skills is much easier now with AI. Actually, you can ask the AI, how do I program in this particular language, and it can teach you in just a matter of minutes. So picking up things technically, I think it's a lot easier. But having the personal relationships and building those skills requires practice and actually living your life, basically. So I would lean more on the human, personal side of things, but I think it would be best if you can have both.
Yeah, well, speaking as the introvert side of the equation, I will definitely go for the social human, the person who really is outgoing and can have those human connections because, it's not something I was born with. It's not something you can easily learn. So I always give the analogy of Apple. As you may know, Apple was founded by two people, three, but mostly two in the end, Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. Now, Steve Wozniak was the technical brain of the company. He was doing all the hardware and software. And Steve Jobs was, we all know who Steve Jobs was. And Apple became what it became because of Steve Jobs. I'd say there's a lot of Steve Wozniaks. All respect to Steve Wozniak, there's a lot of Steve Wozniaks. There's not so many Steve Jobs in the world. And for me, more as the Steve Wozniak type, I would definitely look for Steve Jobs to pair with.
Good. I think for me, is someone good with people. Because I think at the end of the day, human is the center. And the reason, again, we wanted to using those technology is for people to solve the business problem, the personal problem, the people to help the company to create more business value, to helping them to create more good customer service for their end customer. I think this is all about people. But technology or data that can be accumulated, that can be trained by people. So if the people really understanding this kind of the concept in that industry, I think, again, we can solve a lot of good business problems, then that can be a startup to focus on.
Thank you.
I'd like to add to that a little bit and also kind of explain the social enterprise. I think we lost a little bit. The human part, yes, it's not just the customer. There are different stakeholders, okay? There are people who are affected by your product or your service. There are people who might be directly benefiting, maybe from a salary or and so on and so forth. There might be indirect benefits for stakeholders, okay? So for example, culture, maybe there are people who are in a particular cultural site, the people who are living at the cultural site nearby, they're also stakeholders. They will be affected by whatever projects, even if it's AI driven and so on. It's very important that we consider all stakeholders, okay? Not just the customer. I think it's, even though the customer, yes, the relationship is very important because that's what's going to drive your business bottom line. But the problem, and I think this is even before the AI situation, is that the public interest, everybody's interest in this particular project or particular business, they are also stakeholders. So we should expand this kind of human beyond just the customer. I think hopefully our audience are able to pick that up a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Terence. Until now, we talk about the entrepreneur, right? But I would like to ask you another question. What kind of institutional support would help Macau companies to use AI or technology more efficiently? So what kind of support should we receive around us in order to work better with AI?
For me, I think the number one institution is education.
Education, yeah.
Yeah, I think people start to get exposure to what AI is. They have to understand what the power of AI. We are all learning this at the same time. Okay, so this is a brand new thing, but we can look at some of the past experiences in the history and learnings that we have, especially with the MBA students. The business case studies still will work, okay, because it's about the human connection. Like I keep going back to that, but this education that you learn will be applicable to just something faster with the AI, okay? But at the same time, we're all learning it at the same time. So you not just kind of learning it from the university and so on, but you also can pick up a lot of the new experience and the new techniques and so on online or from talking with other people using AI. I think the community coming together is also very important. People are sharing what they're knowing, how to use the AI in different ways. I think that's kind of key, learning from each other and also learning from educational institutions. Yeah.
Daniel, what do you think?
I think, yes, I absolutely 100% agree with Terence. I think education will probably be number one. But if I had to choose another stakeholder in this case, would be government as well. I think the government has to pay attention to the developments around AI, especially in terms of the impact on the job market, for example. There is a responsibility here that companies who are normally thinking about, being for-profit companies, of course, they have to be focused on maximizing profits. And that's not always aligned, of course, with some of the human elements in terms of human resources, for example. I mean, we are telling students that you can become a one-person company. That also means you're starting a company that would otherwise have some employees, and they're not going to have them. And likewise, companies that are already operating, who might have employees, do they still need some of them? So this is a big problem, I think, that has to be followed by government, because we could face potentially a crisis in terms of employment. We could face, job losses. And I think the government has to pay attention to that, because that's going to come back for the government in terms of unemployment benefits or all the things that go with that. So there has to be a conversation. I think, and it goes back to education as well, not just for young people who are maybe studying and preparing to enter the job market, but for companies as well, because there is a huge amount of value in current employees, believe it or not, because they can become 10 times as efficient with AI. Right? It's not just that your job can be automated. No. What can you do? Now that you've been here, you understand the business practices, you understand the rules, you have all this business-specific knowledge. Why lose that? Why don't just make that person 10 times as efficient by, helping them, learn this technology? Because then you have the best of both worlds. You have someone who's efficient and who understands your business better than anyone else. So I think the education applies also within companies. And again, maybe universities can play a role in that by providing services to companies. And the USJ, I believe, is starting to engage in some of that, not specifically to AI, but we do provide custom educational services to even casinos, for example. Companies are always welcome to approach universities and say, look, we are entering a new era. We're not quite sure what to do of it. Can you help us? And I think universities like USJ will be happy to look into that as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. And Ted, do you have any view?
I think when we're talking with the integrated resort, they always have a concern how my employee can use the AI and data rightly and without security issue, without compliance issue. So I think maybe from the university like USJ, that you guys maybe can help to have some AI literacy course, which giving most of the the employee, they have a right AI literacy to avoid at least leaking the data and privacy first before they really using it, and understanding the basic of 101 about this kind of technology that might hurt the company as a reputation when they leaking some customer data or when they using the AI leasing their personal data. So I will encourage it, our client as well. They maybe work more with like USJ or some university to increase their employee AI data privacy, etc. So this is something I think when the new technology coming out, there's many gray area or not compliance yet from the government. So that is actually a big risk for us too. So as long as we can increase the literacy for those AI and data, I think that is helpful for the university or for some non-profit organization like Terrence, you guys to do more to share to the society.
Thank you, Ted, for
yes. To interrupt a little bit here as well. The institution question here is also about the local and the self-institution. I think Daniel is also promoting as well. Is this slowly functionality that we used to maybe delegate to many institutions? Some of them will become your own institutions. Okay, so AI is going to be able to help you with some of those features these institutions providing for you, including education, by the way. So maybe doing your taxes, many of these things, law, providing you law advice and things like that. You don't have to trust it. Again, the agency is very important, but some of these are becoming self. So you are running your own kind of institutions, various institutions. I think that's also something that people should think about. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your view. I would like to spare a couple of minutes to see if there is any questions from our audience. Now is your time to shine. Do you have any question?
I have the microphone, so I was instructed that I need to be the first one to start the questions. Thank you very much for these interesting presentations and sharing your respective experience and insights on this topic. So I have two questions. The first one is how far have you integrated? Probably that question may not be for Professor Daniel, but I'm talking to the two entrepreneurs. How far have you integrated this AI into your business model? And when we talk about business model, we are referring to, of course, beside the traditional business model, we know there's a three key point is how do you create, deliver, and capture value, right? So what role AI has been playing from your experience? Because even you're a social entrepreneur, you do also have a business model because it gives a snapshot of your operations, right? How you create, deliver, but also capture value. So I want to see, and I believe this could be a question very interesting for a student as well. How do you, from your experience, have integrated this into your daily operations? If you are not really advanced in that field, perhaps you can give some example, because we are also referring to the GBA. So we want to see also what are some of the experience you have seen from the GBA in terms of integrating AI as a tool for delivering, delivering, but also creating value for customer, but for you, but also for the stakeholder, as you mentioned. My second question, when the moderator asks you which kind of skill do you prefer, people skill or people with technical skill? Majority say people skill. Okay, then which place do you give to people with the technical skill, and not even people with technical skill, but also with the technology? What space do you give to the technology, knowing that the advance of the technology is very rampant? So right now, and either you try to catch it or it leaves you behind, right? Technology. So I would like to hear your thought on that part. What kind of space you give to AI compared to the people skill that you all say you will privilege when you have to do a recruitment? Thank you.
So maybe I'll start with the first question here. The AI integration, for me, and I mentioned this before as well, was the idea of building your own tools. Okay, so AI is able to not only answer your questions, but you can also ask it to build things that helps you, but only you, not necessarily for somebody else. Okay, so for example, I will use the AI, and I mentioned this before. I can create a software to edit the AI response, right? So that's a unique tool that I think is useful, but maybe not for you. Okay, you might feel like, okay, I just have to give it the same answer again in the prompt, and that's enough. Okay, but for me, that's not enough. For me, it's very important I have the full control. Okay, so the AI integration is individualized. Okay, you have to figure out what you want to do, and the AI is going to be able to help you speed up that, making that thing that you want, the tool you want. Now, the other part of that question is the Greater Bay Area.
Now, before you move on, just what I wanted to know your experience from your for Sustancia, for example.
Okay.
If you can give some example of how, or it might not be, you are not mainly advanced in integrating AI, for sure, might be at the beginning, but we want to see from a less abstract perspective to look at from more concrete perspective what company has been doing concretely to boost their business model.
Yeah, I'll give you a very concrete example. So for this particular talk, right, given the title and the panelists and the background and so on, I could ask the AI what kind of things that the audience might be interested to learn about. Okay, so AI is maybe more comprehensive in terms of telling me the kind of stakeholders that maybe I'm blindsided. So for me, maybe I'm thinking, okay, I'm in an art gallery, so maybe I'm more talking to professionals and people who are already very interested in AI, right? But the AI might respond with something like saying, oh, you should be more concerned with people who might not understand AI or might not even use AI. In this case, your tone and your explanations has to be more fitting. Maybe you have to speak in a way such that they can understand just from their personal experience of, talking with other people and applying the same metaphor to the AI. Okay, so for the social enterprise, the social impact, which is the human part of it, right? It's very important to know who are your stakeholders, what are the things that they're concerned about, what kind of benefits they should be receiving, what kind of difficulties that they will face. So this is something that AI a lot of times can help me just to avoid the blind, side blind spot, right, situation. But coming back to the Greater Bay Area as well as this local idea. I remember a few years ago when I first played with ChatGPT. Actually, it was from OpenAI. It was actually open. Actually, we could use it without a VPN and so on, so without like special connection. But then at a certain point, they decided to not be open anymore. Okay, so now we have the situation where we have political situations and services. AI, I can almost say fundamental service. We all use it now. That might not be accessible to you, right? So now we have a lot of these Chinese AI models, and some of them are even free to use on your own computer, local ones, okay, without even connecting to the company. You can just load it on your own computer. Again, this comes back to that self-institutionalization idea, the concept that you run everything yourself and that you're able to increase your capability beyond what you are normally capable of, okay? So this localization, this individualized local capability, superpower is available to all of us if we only give a little bit more time to understand how it works, or maybe you ask somebody else who has some of that experience, perhaps somebody like Daniel or from the university as well. These are things that I think students should be really aware of. Like, these are things which are happening already, okay? So this, yeah, I think
So
that's
Haru, we are bound by the time. I think we give a chance to the
Yeah.
audience to ask some of the question because the time is almost getting there.
Yes.
Hello, good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for the talk today. I have one question would like your sharing. So, from your experience, what is the biggest mistake you've seen some young entrepreneurs made when they're trying to use AI in their business? Thank you.
Anyone in particular, or?
I have something to say, if you guys okay. To take the AI at face value. You just take whatever AI tells you and assume that's the answer. The honest truth is just a draft, and most likely an incorrect draft. So therefore, any young entrepreneur, please don't blindly follow what the AI say. Again, back to the agency, but to make sure that you revise and you correct and you make it. The key point here is what you want. Okay, so even if you're wrong, but it's what you want because you're responsible. So
I think this is a very good answer. What I usually say is AI is a tool, it's not an oracle. So don't take the truth that come from the AI. Otherwise, you may end up writing some citations, some references in your thesis, and we are completely invented, right? So this is a very good point that you're making.
So
maybe we have time for.
Can I just
yes.
add something to that? I think it's a very interesting question, and we see that also, of course, in academia. And Terence is absolutely right. So hallucinations are, very common. But one interesting thing you can do to overcome that, or to perhaps have less of that, is ask multiple agents to fight each other. So ask them to contradict each other and to find blind spots in each other's arguments. And when you start having agents kind of trying to have that adversarial perspective, they start to find each other's blind spots. And together, they actually end up with a pretty good solution output. So it's really by having these agents that they are normally very agreeable. As you know, AI tries to agree with everything you say. But if you try to ask it specifically, don't be agreeable, try to find blind spots in these arguments, then that's a really, really interesting strategy to try to and avoid some of those hallucinations that are very easy to fall into.
Maybe time for a quick one. Yes.
I'm not sure I really understood about the effects on the GBA. But what I would like to know is how can the GBA improve in such a way they can overcome what Shenzhen's doing, other big cities are doing in terms of businesses driven by AI?
So for me, the answer is the local situation. GBA is a big area. Macau has its own local customs, its own local understanding. So I think every city within the Greater Bay Area would have its own traditions that any entrepreneur needs to be aware of, even if they're using the AI. So when you use AI, you can say, for example, I'm in Macau, and we have a fusion of Portuguese and Chinese culture for many hundreds of years. Can you consider that as part of the background of whatever business that you're doing, right? And so the branding, marketing, product, service might be maybe very different or slightly different. So the Greater Bay Area allows this diversity, and with the amount of population that we have in this area, we can have many different niche businesses. I think is going to be very interesting. Yeah.
Business idea
Yeah.
that uses AI. Should I learn to build it myself or hire someone?
Yes.
And how do I protect my idea?
How much should you share about your idea?
I think Terence already kind of partially answered that. It's difficult, right, depending on what you're doing. Well, the answer to should you learn it? Absolutely. As I think we've made it clear, everyone should be learning to some extent. The way to protect, again, it will be, if it's just pure software, that's difficult because, like Terence mentioned, anyone can just duplicate it in 10 minutes. So you don't really have much of a unique selling point. However, if you go early and if you gather some kind of data that's not publicly available, that data again could become the distinguishing point. For example, if you create a platform where consumers interact in some way, that data that you're acquiring could become something that's not easily replicable by AI. AI can do the software, but not the interactions. Again, making sure that you conform with whatever privacy regulations you need to be dealing with. But yeah, so you're always looking for what can we gather as a business? What can we do that is not just an AI output, right? Again, could be social interactions, could be human interactions, could be something that's locally unique, that's someone from the other side of the world can't just throw an AI with a prompt and duplicate. So try to think about the human element. Try to think about data that is not publicly available. Perhaps you have some sort of data that you can use. So try to think about something that just cannot be an AI output, basically.
Yeah, I think it's like sustainability. What is sustainability? People has to do something to understand what it is. I think it's the same thing with AI. You have to actually build something. It doesn't have to be building an AI model. It could be just something using AI to build with. And you learn from that, and you kind of figure it out on the way. Thank you.
Okay, I think we have shared a lot of data today. We have some time constraints. Now, the problem is to turn this data that you have shared into insights, and then from insight to action. Okay, so this is a task that we are giving to our students to make a good use of all the data that we have shared. So I would like to thank all our panelist members, Ted, Daniel, and Terence, for being with us today. And thank you so much for sharing all your insight. And back to Professor Diakite.
Yes. Okay, so now the last part is to deliver a certificate of appreciation to our guests. So I will start with Ted, please.
Okay. For having me. Thank you. Thank you.
And it's quite awkward to do that, but it's part of the process, giving something to my colleague. So, Daniel.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And the third one is Terence. Thank you very much for.
Thank you.
And the last, not the least, my neighbor, Professor Alexander Lampo. We are sitting close to each other in the office.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so now we can really say now we are concluding this. I need to come to the light, otherwise the camera won't see me. I'm concluding now this last season. As I said at the beginning, this year this is the last activity of the Law and Tech Talk. But of course, we are resuming next academic year with a new topic again. And you're going to have, of course, different speakers from different background. This is an event we want to continue every year. And we would like to also reiterate our thanks to our partner, Ricuña Foundation, and precisely Dr. Ricuña, who was here, but I think he just left now. So has been giving really great support for organizing this event here, and even taking his time for signing the certificate for that is given to the panel member. So next year again we are going to meet here in the same place, but of course we hope that is going to be also with our new law students, because as I mentioned at the beginning, hopefully we are going to open our Master of Business and Technology Law next semester, 2026. And this is a part of the master program, business and technology law. It's a part of the program. We have law and tech talk, but also we have tech and technology and law tech and law lab. Well, so this is a different event we are going to have, and we hope that the output of this law and tech talk, we are going to make it something very meaningful by coming up with some material, learning material that we will share with all of you in the due course. So thank you again very much for being here tonight and taking your time. Now it's a time for you to go have a dinner, and see you next year. Until then, have a good night.